I am interested in the trends of these movies because we also did John Wick that came out after this. Right. A lot of overlap between this and John Wick.
Yes. John Wick kind of ran with the Taken idea and did overdid the backstory more, you know, like where it's like created more of a world.
Liam Neeson with Taken, I think, started the nouveau old guy killing people trend, which you could trace back to, in my opinion, the only one that is believable at all, which is the original Death Wish, which is an old guy with a bunch of guns who's shooting people dead, guerrilla warfare style.
Right.
Because all the other stuff is kind of made believe. Like, yes, an old guy could fight like this, which is not true, and it can't happen. Anybody over like 35 years old is going to get their ass kicked.
Their hamstring will be pulled from the jump.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like George Foreman, but he'd have to be, you know, in a boxing ring.
Right.
So the bad guys would have to come at him in a boxing ring, and he'd have to knock them out quick. But he couldn't chase after them or anything at that stage in his career. He was knocking people out.
I thought this movie was really fun to rewatch, and it is fun. It's a fun time period.
I like this because, you know, like it just touches on his previous world. Like, you know, it's not, and same reason why I like John Wick 1 as opposed to the next like 11 that came out.
I really wanted to watch the TV show Equalizer, which I've never seen, and do that for Zombie Squad, but it's just too big a pain in the ass to find.
Yeah. And
I wanted
we're
to
not
throw
talking
it
about
on. We're not talking about Queen's show.
just for the record, we're not talking about the Queen Latifah Equalizer.
Yeah.
We're talking about the original.
We love Queen. We're not talking about her show.
There is the Kevin Costner, like McG directed, like 3 Days to Die, which was him getting into the old guy with some like a special set of skills.
There's The Foreigner with Jackie Chan. There's
Jodie Foster
McG
did one.
Directed that Kevin Costner one. Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes also has the neurodivergence makes you a superhero, which is part of the 2010s genre of action movie. Included, I'll put The Predator in there, which is also released around this time period, mid 2010s.
Yeah, I would say it ends up at neurodivergence as a superpower, but it starts at how can we make being smart badass? And I think that's what the Sherlock Holmes thing kicks off with, where it's like, he's so smart, he ends up being physically capable. And it's just like a way to like make it more action-y. And then I think you're right. And then we see it here where our Equalizer has OCD. And then we see it in Predator is the most egregious.
And the
I could trace it
is
back.
Another one that came out a few years after this.
Yes.
I could trace it back to my third grade teacher, Mrs. Musakanian, who talked about how being smart is cool.
Right, yeah.
Well, I think they on paper, I could see it like, yeah, it's actually intelligence, but like the way they film it makes them insane looking. And I think that's the stuff that's aged the worst about the Equalizer, is all the stuff that looks like an episode of CSI.
Where it slows down as he like analyzes what's going on. It happens less in the third one, which I...
Sure, watch.
The third one came out a couple of years ago, right? That's the only one I haven't seen.
Dog.
Yeah.
The third one is much better than part two.
This I saw,
part two kind of dips.
I saw 1 and 2 in the theaters, I believe.
Yeah.
Definitely watch 3. It gets back to
and
what's
it takes
fun.
place, and 3 is so transparently like Denzel's like, if I'm doing another one of these, we're going to fucking Italy.
But like what, like you go through it and it's like, well, what was the goal? Why did it shift so hard in the 2010s? Is it because young people were going to the movies less? Like the shift from the movies we cover frequently on the podcast from the 80s and 90s to 20 years later, the age of all the actors is it's the same actors.
It's the same actors, and it's
the
like
age of the heroes isn't the same.
I think they were going for a demographic like me that's like old and crusty and has a kid and wants to be able to do
that's
things.
That's what Taken activated. Taken activated
Taken activated the boomer generation of like, we're not fucking done yet.
We're not done.
Also,
Like,
action movies are already kind of almost in the dad movie genre. And then they just started honing in and being like, well, let's just make them actual old dads who are doing stuff.
And also these people like Jodie Foster who did one, and I think even Did Nicole Kidman do one? Maybe
no, but like Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
There's all these people, and they're just like, yeah, we'll put these, great actors that want to do something
Bob
like this. Odenkirk, yeah.
You see this parallel in society, like.
Why is Trump still like it's like
People
why is
aren't
everybody
retiring.
still
Why,
fucking old?
parents aren't retiring. It's like
well, kids were going to see superhero movies too,
right?
And people liked this kind of mindless action experience.
They're just old.
They're just too old. Yeah,
yeah.
And
but
so
do
then
you think it's because like they can't make a good one?
What, the superhero movies?
No, a good like a better version of this that maybe a younger audience would come.
Oh, I think it's again like how old the cast is. Because if you're like a young kid, especially now where you have like a vacuum of entertainment to where it's being marketed
so
specifically.
Yeah. That you're like, there might be kids who don't know who Denzel Washington is.
Yeah,
right,
for sure there is.
Yeah. There's like 16-year-old kids who would go to the movies, but
the guy from Flight?
That's the only one they know.